Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you're watching or listening to this, and welcome to Link Up Leaders, your direct link to leaders in supply chain and e-commerce. My name is Lisa Kinski. I'm your producer and co-host, and joined as always by Francois Jeffrey. Francois, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Good afternoon. Feeling great. Doing great. Took the lunch break to go to the gym. Getting back into it.
Lazy bones.
Yeah, the lazy bones. Yeah, for the past few weeks. So I guess taking a page out of Amy's book and just trying to go all in when I go to the gym itself. And if anyone is listening to this, first of all, go look up Amazing at Home on Instagram and follow her journey. Her workouts are some of the most intense workouts that I physically could not keep up with any of the things that her or Danny McMillan are doing.
Danny is nuts. We'll just have to ask her when she gets on with us. Are her workouts on the Amazing at Home or on her personal one?
We'll ask her when she gets in.
Yeah,
but
I think her profile.
It might be. I don't know. Go follow her. Whatever it is, go follow her on all the social medias, and we'll make sure this links in. But I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing good. I have been going. Jack just got back from London, and he asked me. He was like, "Did everything bloom while I was gone?" I was like, "I don't know why." He's like, "Everything's so green." I was like, "I've been in my office or at the gym. I've been nowhere else since you've left." But no, doing good. Loving, I will say this every time. I'm an outside plant. I need sunshine. It's very sunshiny and hot.
And it's sunshiny.
I am happy going into. But this weekend kicks off my months of insanity from now until June. So
yeah, I have a lot going on too. We have to so we're moving from Pittsburgh to DC. But on top of that, have the wedding and being a part in the wedding.
Your buddy's wedding.
Yeah, my buddy's wedding.
I thought you meant yours and Kate.
Sneaking off. Yeah, we're sneaking off and just
was
doing
about
a little.
To be so mad.
But yeah, that and then. It's just, I think everyone is recovering from the pandemic and taking the opportunity to do things. And so everyone's sending out invites and new group texts are forming. They're like, "Do you want to do that?" I'm like, "No, take me out of this group." And they're like, "Well, I sent it from, an Android, so I can't take you out of the group. So we're going to try to make, but it's a mess, but it's fun. It's great. No, it is what it is. We're going into summer."
Well, good. Well, and at least, I don't know, all of your stuff is domestic, right? You're not going abroad.
No,
all of my stuff is domestic. Poor Amy, she has to deal with time zones.
Poor Amy, she's about to go to a castle.
That's true. Well, she's gonna be running around like crazy. Let's go ahead and bring her on. True. We have today with us our leader of the day is Amy Wiese from Amazing at Home. Amy,
hi. How are you guys? It's so much fun, you guys. If you ever come on this podcast, it's so much fun because you get to be in the background. In the show, while Francois and Lisa are talking about you and your workouts.
Insane workouts. I'm not kidding. You and Danny McMillan both inspire me. Every time you guys work out, I'm like, I have to go to the gym. I'm a little bit of a lazy bones today, but I have to go eventually.
And it's so crazy. I do not like posting videos of my workouts. I started posting them when we were all on lockdown during the pandemic. I was finding it hard for me to get motivated. I like CrossFit and high intensity interval training because I have a coach that tells me what to do. And I am an entrepreneur, so I have to know what to do. I'm a boss. I have to know what to do all day, every day. So when I go to the gym, I don't want to figure it out. I want you to tell me how I'm supposed to suffer during this hour, and I just want to get it over with, right? So when I did not have my gym family during the pandemic, I was just kind of sad and had to motivate myself. So I started posting these little videos of okay, I'm in my garage, I'm just going to move my body. I'm going to get it done. And Danny reached out and was like, "Hey, let's start this thing where we just post videos and we tag each other and encourage people. There's a couple different people doing it." And I'm like, "Okay, I guess I'm doing it anyway. It's fine." Well, you guys, it's been 20 months. 20 months. Danny's still posting videos. I'm like, this guy's never going to stop posting videos. Every time I go to the gym, I have to take some kind of recording and
See, I love that commitment though. And that's what we're missing here on the team. Because let me tell you what we've been doing. We have a small group of us and it started just the original cave members of you have to go to the gym at least 3 times a week. And if you don't go your 3 times, you have to put $20 in the Lazy Bones jar. And at the end of the quarter, whoever had the most days in the gym got the amount of money in the Lazy Bones jar. Okay. Yeah. So Francois won that one, but then he did. I know. Well, my schedule was too insane. I'm going to win this month. You just hold on. So I'm already killing it. So then we come to the end of the quarter, and Jack, who I'm going to make listen to this, I'm calling him out publicly, was like, I don't want to have the monetary requirement. I think I'm working out for the wrong reasons. I want to work out for the right reasons. Let's take the money off the table. And I was like, and I was not on board. Francois took some convincing, and he was like, okay, we'll try it for 1 month. And so help me God, Jack, if you don't hit it. I don't think that boy, now mind you, he just got back from England, but I don't think that boy's been to the gym in 3 weeks. And I'm like, sir, I would have your.
We got to put the money back in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
The money has to be there.
There has to be some pain with it, right? I think most of us gain weight, and that's our primary motivator. Like, oh, I got to go to the gym. I know for me, I've gained some pandemic pounds, some stress pounds. And so, but for me, my motivation too is just that I just feel better. I feel so much better when I go. And so like, even when I go at 5 a.m. because if I don't, I'm not going to go. So
I can't do that.
We have someone on our team that does that.
Yeah, Jada does that. I don't know how she does that. I can't
work out. You just count 5-second rule. You count to 5. You put your stuff out the night before. You count to 5. Count down from 5. Get out of bed. Put your feet on the ground. Roll out. I just roll out of bed and like put my clothes on like half asleep. And by the time I get to the gym and we start the warm up, by the time we're done with the warm up, I'm usually somewhat awake.
But are you working out fasted? Because I can't work out fasted like that. I wake up starving every morning of my life. And I have to
I work out fasted,
Awesome.
But I mean, I'm half asleep, so it's fine. By the time I wake up,
you're moving just through it.
It's good. I think it's just about the routine. If you get up early enough, I think, you might just have to get up at 2 a.m. and go.
I would truly, to get to the gym, or to wake up, eat food, let it digest, get to the gym, come home, take a shower, get ready for work, and get to work on time, I'd have to be up at 4. And that's not for me. I'm serious. Well, I'm in the gym an hour and a half,
for me.
2 hours.
If
I'm very
so.
lucky. My gym is literally across the street from my house. And my warehouse is also there. So I have excuses to go there several times a day. But so it works out. Anyways. Well, awesome to be here with you guys. This topic that we're talking about today, sourcing from Mexico. I've been talking about it on a lot of podcasts lately because I'm hosting a trip there. But can I just tell you, lately with China, like I love China. I have sourcing trips to China. I have great relationships with my suppliers. I know they're struggling too. Like we're all kind of like, I guess you could call, I don't want to say victims, but we all kind of are, right? Of like the economy and everything that's happening right now. And, I have an order right now that's a year late because first they made it incorrectly. And so they had to remake the whole thing. And then they had some other kind of delays coming and I had to get my lawyer involved. And then their factory got shut down for COVID. And so it's like, and I have clients who have stuff that sat at the port for 3 months during Q4, during their highest sales season. And people selling like things that are super giftable and mostly bought at Christmas. And it's like, what can you do? There's been so much. So, I mean, I am not an expert of sourcing from Mexico. I'm just going to put that out there. I do not source my products from Mexico right now. Now the whole audience is just like, forget it. I'm not going to do this anymore. Right. But the bottom line is I do have several clients that have moved their supply chain to Mexico. But the bottom line is most people are not sourcing from Mexico and they want to. And that's why we're doing this, because we really want to move our supply chains closer to home, right? It's getting just the port congestion, all the tariffs, everything like that. So, there was so much demand and so many people asking about it. And I started on this journey of trying to get into Latin America and start sourcing from Latin America about 2 years ago. And every time, Mexico is one of my favorite countries to visit. It's like, I live in San Antonio, Texas. It's just like a hop, skip, and a jump to a nice beach. I moved here from Hawaii, so like I need a good beach. So I love Mexico. I love visiting. I love all the cities, all the diversity. And I would always see products in Mexico that I just loved at the stores and everything, and that were made in Mexico. And even here in San Antonio, I see tons of products at Walmart, at CVS, everything that are made in Mexico. And I'm like, how can I crack this code, right? Like there has to be, like, how do I meet these manufacturers? Where are they? They don't have websites. Right. If you go on Alibaba and you try to find them, good luck. It's like some kind of like spam link thing, right? Like you're like, you try to like filter for Mexico and you get like Chinese suppliers and you're like, hey,
yeah,
it's this whole, like, it's kind of an unknown world. Like we don't know how to reach it. We know there's great products coming from out of Mexico and Latin America, but we don't know how to get there. Like there's literally a wall, literally and figuratively, there's a wall. And and so I was trying to get after this. There was other people in the industry. Susanna Bermudez was, trying to get people into this. And, I talked to her for a little while and we were talking about maybe doing something together. And then, Tim Jordan was doing the same thing and he was already sourcing from Guatemala. And so a bunch of us, and even like Athena Sabiri was talking about it from Titan, and, just all of us were talking about this. And it was kind of in the mumblings of like, hey, are you doing anything there? Do you know anybody there? What's going on there? So I was like, okay, let's do something. Like we do sourcing trips everywhere else. Like, let's do it, So Tim Jordan and he was already planning something similar. So I was like, I don't want to compete with you. Sorry. I don't want to do that. I'd rather go with you and let's do it together, right? So me, Tim Jordan, Norm Farrar, we decided to do two very, very crazy things. The first thing was to set up a sourcing trip to Mexico, to take people to Mexico, to meet manufacturers, to learn about sourcing. So now we have to find like all these experts, and we found them, right? But the second thing that makes us, I think, certifiably insane is that we have set up a trade show, our own trade show. So the first ever trade show to happen in Mexico City to connect buyers from around the world with Mexico manufacturers. There's lots of trade shows in Mexico City and around Mexico, in the big cities in Mexico. There are lots of trade shows, but most of them are things like automotive and, like very industrial things. So you're not going to
very mature.
Yeah, you're not going to find like a Canton Fair, right? And you're not going to find that our trade show is not going to be a Canton Fair, right? I mean,
not yet.
Fields, 60,000 booths. Yeah,
we'll get there.
Give us a time.
Not yet, but in a couple of years, hey, we're going for it, right? So the thing is, what I've learned is that there's so many products you can source from Mexico. You can source wooden products, plush products, metals, plastics, handicrafts. There's all kinds of handicrafts. There's leather goods. I have slides that like show all the different products, but when you look up Mexico there and you look at the top exports, it says things like petroleum, and you're like, me as an Amazon seller, what am I going to do for that? Right?
Doesn't do me any good. Yeah,
exactly. I'm not trying to source petroleum, but thank you anyway, Mexico. So, so we started getting into the actual categories that sellers are already sourcing from Mexico. And there's so many great products that basically anything in the giftables, anything in like home and kitchen, medicines, health and wellness, beauty and skincare, jewelry, apparel, accessories, office supplies, office furniture, like you name it, and you can even get injection molds made there. So,
That's
it's
huge.
just about the big thing that people don't understand. And this is across the board, is that these other countries that you can source from are not China. we're so used to sourcing from China that we're so used to just looking up something, and even on our web, we had a big webinar last night where we like really dug deep into all this stuff and like talked about everything. And the questions just kept coming, like, can I find this? You know, can I find this? Can I find this? Do you have a sourcing agent for this? Or do you have a manufacturer that you can give me for this? And it's like, guys, even if I give you a manufacturer for that, are you going to know how business works in Mexico?
Right.
Are you going to be able to reach out to this supplier and actually understand what you're supposed to say? Are they going to know how to work with you?
Hmm.
They are not used to the contract manufacturing model in Mexico. So it is more of a conversation. And all these goods are being made. We see all the goods coming out of Mexico, and it's very exciting, but we can't just give them a product and say, okay, can you just make this for me? That's not how it works in Mexico. We have to learn how to talk, just like we have to learn in China. You know, yes, you can source on Alibaba, but my first time going to China in person, it changed everything for me. I was able to move my products from, some of them I was like, had like a 6x multiplier on, and I was able to move it to like a 10x multiplier. Just big differences in my costs. I was able to find designs from factories that were not available on Alibaba. I was able to find factories that I couldn't find in the directory, right? So I was able to have conversations and learn things and meet people and make connections that really changed everything for my business. And so I know that Mexico is going to do the same thing, but people still have that mentality of, well, what if I can't come to your trade show? Can you just give me a list of your manufacturers? Are you kidding me? If I gave you a list of my manufacturers, what would happen to my relationship with these manufacturers? If I just gave everybody, if we posted on evolatsum.com, if we posted a list of all of our manufacturers and their names, what would happen?
They'd be bombarded. They would get poor relationships. It would all fall back on you.
Yep, exactly. So all these people are reaching out to us. They're registering for Evolat. It's free to attend our trade show, by the way, June 8th in Mexico City. So, you know, free to attend. Absolutely. Go to evolatsum.com. You just got to get yourself to Mexico City. But if you actually want to learn how to do this, this is what we're doing. Like we're building these connections. This is a really groundbreaking thing. And for me, like I've had meetings the last few days with sourcing experts local in Mexico, and they are just kind of floored at what we're doing. They're excited about it. And they're like, wow, we didn't even know that, you know, there was this much interest, and we didn't, you know, and when I tell them like literally hundreds of people are signing up for the trade show, like every day my email box is full of people signing up. So this is, you know, we haven't even done that much marketing. We have never even run an ad yet. So it's really exciting to know that there's so many people that are interested in this and that we're looking to change our landscape. Are we going to replace China? No, we're not. We're not yet, right? I mean, but can we diversify our supply chain? Absolutely. This is step one, is learning anywhere you want to source from, whether it's Mexico or Guatemala or India or anywhere outside of Mexico. You have to learn how to build those relationships, and you have to learn how to have more of a conversation instead of like sending a picture and saying, hey, can you make this for me? Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's great that we can do that in China, but we have to remember it took us 30 years to get there, you know? Yeah.
That's a mistake in and of itself, though. And I think that's a lack of really supply chain education and source. And, you know, you're absolutely right. Being able to go there changes everything, changes the way that you interact with them. It puts a face to the name. What we've seen working with larger businesses that have gone there, it's not so much, hey, can you make this? It's, hey, how are you doing? First of all, just a general, very easy, soft skill that I think everyone loses when you become so transactional. Now, with all of this, talking to your sourcing agents, for example, are there any key differences that you see between China and Mexico, aside from the obvious differences?
Not having to cross the ocean to get your shipment.
I think the big difference, number one, is relationships there are more important. Now, of course, in China, you're going to find the same thing. If you actually sit down with your manufacturer, you're going to find that you don't even talk business until like if you go visit a factory, you don't even talk about business until like half the day is over. Like after you've had lunch together and tea and, all the things. And so that's pretty standard. It's just Alibaba has really made it so easy to source that it's lost a lot of the time, as Francois was saying. But relationships are very important. And then the second thing is that they're just not used to the contract manufacturing model. So what I mean by that is like, they have the stuff that they make already in stock, and they're not excited necessarily about like, oh, you want me to like find all these, I make a round bottle. Now you want me to make a square bottle? Like, okay, so, and a lot of them are very advanced and they are going to have the tooling, but some of them might not, right? So you might have to work together and go, okay, well, how could we make this happen together? Right. And one example I have is I was trying to find on my journey here, I was trying to find a manufacturer for one of my products. And I found one and I was so excited. I found like 3 or 4 of them actually right outside of Mexico City. And I had my local contact there reach out because in-person relationships are very important, right? Especially when we have language barriers. So I had him reach out and the quote that I got from them was more than I sell the product for retail.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, and my first thought is, ooh, is this going to work? Like, am I doing something wrong? Like, do they not know that this product sells for less than this retail? Like, what kind of quote is this, right?
Yeah.
But what I found out by going and visiting, by having one of my contacts go and visit, is that they are just importing. They're probably paying wholesale prices from factories in China. They're importing these goods and they're doing the finishing touches on them, right?
Got it.
And so if I choose to take this a step further, which I may while I'm in Mexico City, but what I can do is I can go meet with them and develop a relationship. And guess what? I probably have better resources. I've visited my factories in China, right? Like I probably have better resources for raw materials than they do. And imagine, they have all the tooling that I need to finish my goods. So now I have them import the raw materials through my resources under their company name so that I don't have to have a business in Mexico to do that, right? They import the raw materials. They aren't going to have any extra tariffs. I'm not going to have any extra tariffs for that. They create and finish my goods. And guess what? How much does it cost me now to get my goods from Mexico to the US? Hundreds of dollars in 2 days instead of thousands of dollars in 30 days. And oh, by the way, free trade. So no tariffs for me because my country of origin changes to Mexico. Right now, it's not that easy. I'm not just going to claim that you can just import some goods from China to Mexico and that you're not going to have any tariffs because it does depend how much you're changing that product, right? But there's also tons of logistics providers in Mexico. So labor in Mexico is actually cheaper than in China. So if you're looking for 3PLs or warehousing, or you want to, let's say you have a problem with suppliers maybe copying your designs or something like that in China, well, you can import parts and pieces to Mexico for cheaper, right? Than bringing them into the US, right? You can finish them in Mexico and then you can warehouse them too there. And then in 2 days, you've got them at an Amazon warehouse. So or Amazon fulfillment center. So there's lots of opportunities that we don't have to always source everything from Mexico. Sometimes we can find new logistics opportunities, new warehousing opportunities. But either way, I'm just so stoked. The other thing too, one of the big concerns that we have sourcing from China, and I remember a couple of years ago in China, I would do like factory tours. And one of my main questions that I teach people to ask when they're talking to a factory is like, hey, do you sell your own products online? Do you sell direct to consumer? Because you want to know, and back in the day, I say back in the day, 3 years ago, right? 4 years ago, I think.
It's in the before times, before COVID. I think we can.
Exactly. It was a couple years before COVID,
That's the new BC, before COVID.
But yeah, so I would ask these questions, and even walking through the Canton Fair, I'd ask these questions, and no, I don't know what you're talking about. No, right now, like right before COVID, my last trip to China, every factory I walked through had a huge e-commerce department. You're not going to find that in Latin America. They don't know they can sell their own products. There are a few e-commerce experts trying to, help them with that, but they're far from that. So you can source finished goods from there. If you're a reseller or you're using the wholesale business model, you can source finished goods. And imagine the moat you're going to build around your business. And if you're developing a private label product, you're going to have a lot less of a chance of a factory competing against you on Amazon for prices that you couldn't even make money on, which is the chief complaint. So yes, we're going to have to do a little bit of extra work. We might even have to go to Mexico, but I mean, the flight to Mexico, for me at least, compared to the flight to China, where I can't even go right now very easily, right, is a little different in time frame, The time zone is great. It's on the same time zone, So I think the work that we're taking, these initial efforts are going to be worth it. And I know that my clients who already source in Mexico, that have taken the extra time to go and have the meetings and work together with the factories to figure it out and get it going, they've made it worth it. And so, and many times, even if a lot of people say, well, the prices are so much higher, number one, remember what I said about the retail price quote I got, right? What are the changes I can make there? You got to build those relationships. We don't know what we don't know, right? And number two, think about all the savings you're going to have in free trade, in shipping, and not only that, shipping timelines. I mean, it's a significant reward if we can not put all of our eggs in the China basket.
Yeah.
Again, I love China. I miss it so much.
I love how you preface this with, you're not an expert in sourcing from Mexico, but a couple months ago, we did speak with a leader. We spoke with Omer Dar, and I have pulled up here our list of 5 benefits of sourcing from Mexico, and you hit every single one. So I think you can probably go on ahead and snag that title.
Well, I think Omer is coming on our trip with us. He's, I believe, one of our speakers and experts. So
nice.
Yes.
That's awesome.
So I'm not an expert, but I'm hoping to become one. I'm hoping to humbly learn more and be one of the pioneers of connecting the Americas, because ultimately, yes, I'm an American, but these are the Americas. We're all here together and we all benefit when we grow each other. And so I just think it's just such a beautiful opportunity to connect with Mexico more, to do what, back when I was in my MBA program, which was way pre-COVID. I look at my degree on the wall over here. But, I had to come up with an international expansion plan for a major business. So I had to study all the different, like for a major company like Apple or Toyota or, and I studied Apple's expansion plan. Like, where would I expand Apple next internationally? And so I studied all these different countries and their demographics and their buyers and, their markets and all of this. And I remember studying in depth Toyota, what they did in Mexico, how they, set up their factories in Mexico and they invested into Mexico, and look at how it's paid off for them. Imagine, we could be importing all of our cars from Japan for Toyota, a big car company here in America, right? But instead, this Japanese car company has revolutionized manufacturing processes, and now they make trucks in Texas. My Toyota Tundra has a born in Texas sticker on the back of it, and most of their manufacturing happens in Mexico now. I think that's just so wonderful. So if we think about China, and again, how many companies have gone into China and have, when you walk through the Canton Fair, you can see all of their badges of honor of, Walmart has worked with them and GNC and, and that's the thing it is a badge of honor to work together and grow together. And so if we think about these relationships with our suppliers as partnerships, because that is what they are, whether we're sourcing from China or Mexico or wherever, we are all going to win, because if we give a little and they give a little, we're going to grow together. And it's just, it's a wonderful thing. So yeah, I can't wait, you guys. I'm so excited about the trip. I'm so excited about this just first experience. I know it's going to be small, but it's going to be huge,
If Noviland is interested in making some relationships with factories in Mexico, I wouldn't mind going to the show and having those conversations.
We can take that offline. Amy, I had a question though, in regards to, because a lot of what you're describing, particularly for newer sellers that don't have a strong background in supply chain or strong knowledge even with working with factories, would you say this is more of an opportunity for those that are more established, that understand, for example, I could make those relationships between China and Mexico, since they do rely on that supply chain as well?
So that's the reason that we're not just having a trade show. It's the same way that I took people to China. I didn't just take them to China. I taught them how to talk to manufacturers, how to build spec sheets, how to communicate. The reason that we are having the Mexico trip is because in 4 days of conferences, talking to experts, learning, is because we're teaching you that. So whether you're a beginner who has never sold anything before, you don't even have any idea how you would possibly even import a product from anywhere, or you're an established company who's growing but has never sourced from Mexico before and needs some tips on how to do business there, you're absolutely going to grow in a myriad of ways on this trip. So that's why we're encouraging people. Of course, on the trade show floor, we're also having speakers come on the trade show floor and learn that day. But there's going to be so much going on. You know how that is. You go to a trade show, you got all these booths, you got people speaking in the corner over here on the stage, and you're just like, Prosper, right? Yeah. Another name for Prosper, I said, we're going to change the Prosper tagline to say, hi, how you doing? See you later.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because that's how it is, right? Like we're hi, how you doing? See you later at Prosper. So, we understand that it's going to be like a fire hose on the trade show floor. And so that's why 3 days before the trade show, we're doing all of this. We always, when we put together these trips, they're very this is not our first time, right? It's not my first time hosting a sourcing trip. It's not Tim's first time. Both of us also have, tons of courses, everything like that. So we know how to teach. We know how to book events. We know how to show people a good time. I mean, the first night that you get there, we pick you up from the airport. The only thing you have to think about, it's an all-inclusive trip. The only thing you have to think about is getting yourself to the airport. We literally pick you up from the airport, take you to our very fancy hotel, and where you're going to be checked in and very comfortable. And the next day we have overall, Tim, George, and I are going to be teaching just private label, learn it, not a whole course, but you get the idea, right? We're introducing them to ours, and that's never been done before. Tim, Jordan, and I teaching at the same time. So that's exciting. So you're going to get a ton from that. But that night, of course, it's Tim Jordan. Have you been to his parties?
Yes, we have.
A great time.
You and I, Lisa, we got our dance on.
You guys tore it up.
And I'm like, man, Lisa's my new bestie, because she's the only one who dances all night like me. So, it's good. She doesn't run out of energy. I love it. But of course, we have planned incredible local entertainment to come in. We've got a gala dinner the first night. Incredible food. All your meals are covered. So not only are you going to come to Mexico City and learn, we're also doing tourist activities. We're doing factory tours. And then the next 2 days for our conferences, we have speakers, local experts coming in to teach us so we can learn. We're doing a workshop for the locals, for the manufacturers, to teach them how to work with us, because they, probably have a lot of anxiety about that, right? Because we are kind of crazy and we do treat everybody like they're China. We suck at it. Okay, cool. But
make us better.
But we're being humble about it. We're trying to help. So it's just going to be an incredible event. I mean, and then of course, if you do the VIP experience with us, because we're crazy, we added on Cancun, 3 days in Cancun at an all-inclusive resort. So, you spend a couple of days with us in Mexico City. We learn to source, we hang out, we learn about business in Mexico. We meet all the people, we do all the things, we do the factory tours, we have amazing meals, we have amazing networking. Then we go to the trade show, we meet people, we do things. We have Ecom Connect, the night of the trade show, where there's thousands of sellers and expats that live in Mexico City. So that's going to be a hopping scene. Awesome. Wow. And then the next day we leave for Cancun. It's just like an hour flight and we go to Cancun, Mexico. And again, we are escorted off to our amazing all-inclusive resort, Moon Palace, one of my favorite resorts in Mexico, in Cancun. And then we're going to spend 3 days together, and we're not going to talk about sourcing from Mexico in Cancun. We're going to talk advanced. Like we have all the advanced guys, the Howard Tides, the Destiny Wishons, Paul Barons, all the people that you know and love. And we're just going to 3 days of mastermind, hanging out on the beach, dancing, having a good time, doing what we Amazon sellers do, right? We know how to party, we know how to have a good time, and yeah. So what an epic trip, right? Just
great. That's crazy. And we'll have the link where people can sign up too, but I'm looking at it now. So you can come on just the sourcing trip or just the Cancun mastermind or do both. Like, why would you not just do both?
Yeah.
Nearly everybody's buying the full VIP. Yeah. It's like people are like, oh, you want me to turn down 3 extra days in Cancun? No, I'm not doing that.
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
man, that is absolutely incredible. So,
and remember, you can also, like, if you're a local or you just want to attend the trade show, like, it's free to attend. And so, like, you literally have no excuse. Like, at least come to the trade show if you're local, and you can go to evolatim.com and just sign up, register free right in the homepage. So yeah, I mean, it's just, there's lots of ways to come along for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think the value of just knowing how the culture is different. One, being able to form the relationships is important, but understanding the culture in order to form the relationships is just as important, right? It's knowing, how are they talking? For example, in China, you were saying, you spend half the entire time just not talking business. Is that done in Mexico? I mean, that itself is probably worth the entire trip. But plus, you get all the Cancun, you get the party, you get partying with Amy Wiese and Tim Jordan. First of all, that's an amazing time. And if you guys are at Prosper.
And Norm is going to?
Norm is coming too, of course. Yes.
And the beard guy, you get to party with the beard guy.
Yeah. The beard guy. Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be a really good time. And I think for a lot of people, the big thing that I've heard is like, Amy, if I make one contact that allows me to move even one of my products to Mexico, it's going to pay for the trip 10 times over. So it's just like, for most people, that's their mindset, at least the established business people. You've got the newbies going, I don't know, is this for me? I'm scared, which I understand. I'm scared too, but we're going to be okay. We have hired literally it's very safe too. Like, I think like that's another question that a lot of people have is like, what about safety in Mexico? Because, we see like Narcos on Netflix and like, well, we can say that about Chicago too, right? Maybe you walk down the wrong road, but no, you're going to be staying in very nice accommodations. Everything's taken care of for you. And we gringos did not put this together. We hired a local events company that does like all the trade shows and everything like that. Okay. They put all this together for us. They're doing all the local content. We have a local Mexico sales team like that works for us every day. And, I mean, there's no other way we would have gotten the World Trade Center in Mexico City to host our trade show. Like, we've gotten the best hotels. Like, come on, you got to do that, right? Like I said, I'm not a Mexico sourcing expert yet. Getting there yet, but I am definitely pretty good at putting on events. So I can guarantee that you're going to have a good time, and I know when to outsource something. I'm learning that as a business owner, right? So yeah, we're very grateful for Susan and her team and the folks in the events team that are just like knocking this out the park, reaching out to new manufacturers every day, and just getting the word out for us in Mexico and making sure, like, really making our jobs easy. So.
Damn, shout out to Susan.
Yes.
Killing it out there. That's
Great
amazing.
I'm tough on her too. I'm tough on the whole team. I'm very military, it's like, so, I'm tough on her, but like, I try to remind them all, like, guys, we got to do it. We got to get it done. But then I'm like, but I love you.
Yeah. I super appreciate everything you're doing.
The relationship is important.
Yeah. I think that's so cool that you're even having a workshop though with the manufacturers to let them know kind of how it is to work with, the folks that are coming on the trip, the e-commerce business owners, the Amazon. That's super cool. I feel like that doesn't happen in China.
Well, it's been developed, I think, over the past 20, 30 years.
Kind
or
of,
so it
kind of trained,
on its own. Yeah. But that's nice. I think that'll probably be part of like helping accelerate that timeline then, like maybe it won't take 30 years this time. Maybe it'll take like 10 or 15. I don't know.
Yeah. I think a lot of it's going to be accelerated just based on necessity and based on how the world is changing. But so much is going more local, right? In terms of manufacturing, like more companies are setting up their own facilities, and you see that more and more in America. So it's changing a lot. I have a guy here locally in San Antonio. He did a TED Talk all about creating these like 3D printer centers, like these factories where you could, the days of having to go to Walmart to pick something up are over, like you can literally just order a design of anything and have it printed at one of your local. This is where we're going, right? Centralized manufacturing, centralized production, and just thinking about like the metaverse and where we're heading in the virtual world. We're doing so much more virtually than we've ever done physically. People are not relying so much on physical goods anymore. We e-commerce companies are going to have to start thinking about, okay, NFTs, how are we presenting, how are we going to grow our goods into the metaverse? Like, I know I'm talking about a lot of crazy things, but this is the stuff that's happening, and it's happening fast because of necessity. And so we really should be thinking about it's the same thing that happened with Amazon during the pandemic, when they basically said essential goods only, and all these people had their goods in fulfillment centers, basically held hostage by Amazon. Not me. I had a warehouse right here. It was like, turn on merchant fulfillment, tripled my sales overnight. Wow. We should never have our eggs all in one basket. It brought so many companies to their knees because they didn't have a contingency plan for a global pandemic. But we got to have contingency plans. We have to look at how the world's changing. If we look at retailers that have gone under, retail continues to grow. Brick and mortar retail continues to grow. But it's those companies that are growing and changing that are growing. And then the ones that we see that are shutting down are the ones that are not changing with the times. And so we gotta get virtual, we gotta get global, we gotta get more centralized. And I can't wait to just see where we're going in 10 years, but at the same time, I'm really enjoying the moment.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Complacency can definitely be the death of a company very quickly if you don't continue innovating on something as boring as your supply chain. That it's the foundation of every business, which is crazy that no one talks about enough.
Yeah.
Well, when it comes to there was one thing that you said about it, companies telling you, or brands telling you, if we could even switch over one product line to Mexico, that would change their entire business. Are you seeing brands trying to shift, let's say, an entire supplier to Mexico, or are they looking to diversify between both China and Mexico?
Well, it depends, right? There's a lot of brands that have a lot of product lines, and it's not just that easy to move everything over. But I have seen brands move like their best product lines fully to Mexico. Or product lines where they've had trouble in China, they've moved. And so that's definitely a trend that I'm seeing happening across the board. And it's been very, very good. I think it's a good thing. One of our experts that's coming on the trip and is speaking on the trip, he's an engineer born in Mexico, and just had a meeting with him yesterday. It was just wonderful. But he specializes in product development and helping people engineer electronics, and even move their entire electronics supply chain to Mexico, which you would not expect from China to Mexico. You wouldn't expect to hear that about electronics. But that's what's happening. So that's beautiful, you know, it really is amazing to think that there is the capability. It's just those companies that are out there have not really gone that virtual yet in terms of like having big websites and stuff like that. Most of them, they're being established by other companies, right? So they're not looking to go, you know, find new clients. Like they've got their really awesome partner, you know, and that's who we all hope to find. We all hope to find that manufacturer that's going to grow with us, that we're going to work together on new products. And, you know, so I think that's really, really wonderful. And there's such an opportunity to, again, you know, grow that moat around our business, especially at a time where so many are dealing with the competition from China coming. I mean, the reality is that, you know, how many million of the million Amazon sellers that we have are Chinese?
Mm-hmm.
A huge amount. And if we look at what's available in the supply chain in China, it's huge. They're local. They speak the language. They have more opportunity than we do. Mm-hmm. And so we really need to start thinking about diversifying and thinking about, okay, how can I, number one, protect what I've designed and innovated, which is what America is good at, right? And how can I, number two, make sure that I'm not feeding into that ecosystem that is designed for such high competition, right? Mm-hmm. And where, you know, we've kind of trained the factories to go ahead and list that stuff on Amazon. And there are ways to protect yourself in China. I mean, I have not had any problems with any of my suppliers taking any of my designs or anything like that. So I don't want to make it sound like, again, I'm not against China. I think China is wonderful. I have great relationships in China. But I do think that diversification is important.
Yeah. Well, and back to what you said about, you know, kind of the lack of competition there too. That was something that Omer had told us, like the Mexican suppliers, you know, and factories there, they just don't have an interest on selling any of the products online. They're not worried about it. They're just like, you know what, we're going to make it. And that's what we're good at. And that's what we're going to stick with. He's like, they really don't care to get into that business.
Well, and that's what it used to be like in China. Amazon themselves did this huge campaign where they went into China and they met with the factories and they taught them how to list. So that's what changed in China that made it, you know, huge. And then also, I won't just give credit to Amazon for that. Like literally, China also had a lot of, like, Alibaba really evolved into wholesaling as well. You have 1688. There were so many e-commerce shopping sites in China that made it so easy for factories to sell that once they started in the e-commerce land, they were just like, ooh, this is nice. You know, we're already making this thing. We can just throw it on there, right? And we have to remember too, that in China, they're really more one-stop shopping. So you can go to a factory and you can get your packaging and everything. Like their buddy down the street's going to take care of all the packaging and it's going to ship it in and they're going to finish it there and they can put the logos on and the labels and all the things. Like, I mean, even like I've seen huge like polybag machines in factories in China. Like the innovation that they come up with to just be able to be one-stop shops is just really impressive, like super impressive. But factories in other countries are not there yet. And so you might be able to get them to make, you know, this thing, like let's get the tool for this thing. Let's make the injection mold for this square bottle of Vaseline, right? Which, by the way, a health and wellness products, very popular in Mexico. Yeah. Oh, man. Okay. So, you know, you might be able to get them to get this, but then, okay, what do we do about our labels, right? Mm-hmm. Do we need to get those? Do we need a label machine, right? Like, we need to really think about that. Like some factories are going to be there and they're going to have those processes already. They're already going to have the label machine. So all we need to do is get the labels there, right? That's fine. Some factories are going to be there, but others are not. And we're going to have to work together. And Tim gives an example that I love. He talked about when he started sourcing in Guatemala. He went and met with this factory and they was like, yeah, we think we can make this, but they were like making it by hand and it was taking way too long. And so he bought them the tool that they needed. And that was like a couple $1,000, but it paid for itself like immediately because now they streamlined the supply chain and, you know, they were able to really get things going, streamline production. Right. So I think just, you know, we have to think outside of the box. And in China, it's so easy for them because they already have that established, you know, for a factory in China to go, oh, I'm going to put this out tomorrow and put it on e-commerce. It's easy for them, you know, because they're like, oh, let me get some labels from my bro over here. I got this over here. I'm good. You know, put it in a box. It's amazing. Okay, put the sticker on it. It's awesome. And in Mexico, they're like, okay, wait, you want me to make what? Okay, hold on. Let's figure this out. Like, wait, where's our relationship first, right? What are we doing? So I think it's just really important that, you know, we keep that in mind. And that's also a benefit to us because they're not so, you know, all in one stop shop that they can compete against us the next day. It's not their interest. Their interest is to do what they do, which is be a manufacturer. And I can tell you, I've had manufacturers as clients who sell on Amazon and they price their products too low. They only know how to sell wholesale. So they drive the whole market down because they just do not have that skill. They don't understand like retail pricing, and all they've ever done is sell wholesale or, you know, manufactured goods. So they really don't have, that's the reason that a lot of them don't make it, because they don't have the scalability because they don't understand that profit model, right? So it's a benefit to us to let the manufacturer do what the manufacturer is supposed to do, not sell against us on our direct to consumer platform, you know? So it's good. It's a good thing.
Well, I'm super excited to see all of the pictures and everything from the trip and get reviews on it. That'll be amazing.
I think Noviland has to be there. You guys are a sourcing company.
We just have to. We'll have to talk after this about. I mean, it sounds like an amazing opportunity.
I don't know. I'm getting a vibe.
He's quite hesitant to send us anywhere. No, I'm kidding.
The plates that we have are nothing short of full. So.
That is very true.
Being strategic is always important, top of mind for us. But I mean, Mexico and other countries have always been part of our roadmap. I mean, we're 100% going to talk about this. No matter what, we're going to promote sourcing from Mexico and diversifying. It's important. I mean, right now we have our network in China with thousands of factories, but you can't get around a city shutting down because of COVID. And they might be one of the primary resources of raw materials for another city. And now all of a sudden your entire supply chain is starting to break down little by little. So, I mean, there has to be this mentality of diversity is key, no matter what, for every business. Now, one thing, because everything sounds amazing going to Mexico, I do want to take a second to talk about challenges, right? It sounds like speed and knowledge of development is a large challenge. Are there any other challenges that you're sort of facing as you're working with your current manufacturers or your potential manufacturers?
Well, I think the challenges also are just understanding all of the rules about importing, logistics, that kind of thing. There are some interesting rules about like shelter companies, for example, where you have to, depending on how you set up your business, and what you're doing with your manufacturer there, in order for you to be able to import, and I'm not an expert in this by any means, this is something I'm just learning about, is that you may have to operate under a shelter company because, as I mentioned, a lot of people are like kind of partnering with their factory or helping, you know, set up there with those. So there are plenty of finished goods that you're going to be able to source. But if you're doing a little bit more development or working with your factory, you may need to establish something there or work with a shelter company to do that. So there are some, there's just some learning challenges. I think those are the biggest challenges, is just like, you don't know what you don't know. And so that's the whole reason that we're bringing in not just sourcing agents, not just manufacturers, but also logistics providers and legal and, you know, whatever else we can get our hands on in terms of experts, so that, you know, we're really helping people have a well-rounded understanding. We got a lot of legal questions last night on our webinar, like, do I need to trademark in Mexico? No.
Short answer.
No, I mean, it's not like in China where if you don't trademark, you might not be able to export your goods because someone else will trademark your name and now you can't get your goods out of the country. It's like a whole different, you know, it's just a different world, right? So again, the biggest challenge is in assuming that Mexico is China. That's your biggest challenge. Your biggest learning opportunity is going in with an open mind and just getting to your first order, which is, you know, the key, building those relationships and making that first order happen. And then after that, it's like, okay, we did that. It's the same thing. Like, you know, when you went to China and sourced your first product, you were like for me, I was like, how do I import this? Like, it was so scary getting my first quote from a freight forwarder. I was like, oh, what is this? What are all these fees? Like, you didn't tell me I needed like what customs involved? Oh my gosh, you know, it's so you know, it's anything like that. You know, luckily because of NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, there's very easy transport of goods. You know, it's much less harshly scrutinized than, you know, goods coming in from China. But, you know, there still is scrutiny. We're still importing. So it's just important to learn the rules and communicate and learn, you know, the differences. And again, just don't make assumptions that every factory is the same or every country culture is the same. And, you know, just go in with an open mind to establish those relationships, and you're going to come out of it just as, you know, with really great benefits.
Fantastic. And we are close to the end of the hour, but we have like 8 things that we have to promote now. So, okay, let's go back. So I'll let you lead the way. I've got like 4 URLs ready to go.
Okay. Well, first, if you would like to watch the replay of the in-depth webinar we did last night, we did this huge webinar where we talked about all the products and we answered all the questions, and it was just crazy fun. So there was like 300 people that registered for it. It was so much fun. You can go to themexicotrip.com/webinar. We have the replay on the page for you. Secondly, if you would like to attend the trade show in Mexico City on June 8th, man, she's good. She's hired Lisa. You can register for free $99 at evolatum.com. We'd love to have you. All you got to do is get yourself to Mexico City. And that night, we're going to have eCom Connect, which is going to be a great event. So if you're local, check that out. And then finally, if you want to take part in the whole trip, all the learnings, all the galas, all the meals, all the things, the entertainment, the just everything, factory tours, you can go to themexicotrip.com.
What a link. What a URL.
Special deal right now. The coupon code MEXICOVIP will save you $500 on your trip. If you want to bring your partner or your spouse, you can, there's a partner qualification form on there too. You can fill that out and we'll give you an additional discount for double occupancy.
Cool.
That's, I think that pretty much sums it up. And then, oh yeah, keep your eye out because a couple of our sponsors are a little bit crazy and they came up with this whole scholarship deal thing. So just keep your eye out for even like more amazing deals coming your way from our sponsors. We just want to remove all the barriers. Like we want to remove the barriers for ourselves. We want to remove the barriers for Mexico. And we just want to have a good time and meet our brothers and sisters, hermanas y hermanos, south of the border.
South of the border. Well, and there's one other thing that you have coming up very soon.
Tacos?
Tacos?
Hopefully soon.
Yes, hopefully so.
Branded by women?
With Branded by Women. I want to talk about Branded by Women for a second.
Join me in London at Branded by Women. Yes.
I want to go so bad. It would be so cool. All right, Cassandra's going to be there. Athena's going to be there. It's just like everybody's going to be at this conference. And it is coming up soon, right? Yeah, it's May 6th. You said you leave in a couple days. You've got like...
You're reminding me. I'm excited. Remember, I have my 2-day hack, so I'm very excited.
Yes.
Be on during, and I think at Branded by Women, I'm talking about advanced sourcing. Like I'm going to give you some secrets that you probably didn't know about sourcing, and not about Mexico per se, but tips that are going to apply to anywhere you source from. And it's always a popular topic. And I find even 7- and 8-figure sellers, they're like, what? Oh my gosh, I didn't know you could do that. So that's what we're going to talk about. It's going to be great.
Amazing.
I love it.
And then one final thing to plug, Amazing at Home.
Yes.
You know, I mean, I have a lot going on, but that's where it all started.
Do you?
Amazing at Home.
Do you really?
You know, we did just do this thing. We did this crazy thing. So you guys know I have like an insane course library, right? I'm like one of those people that talks about, I can come on your show and we can talk about PPC. I can talk about external traffic, help you grow your brand off of Amazon. I can talk about funnels. I can talk about websites. There's too many things. I got a lot of stuff going on in here. So anyway, I have a giant course library on amazingathome.com. If you go to amazingathome.com/courses, you'll see like I've got everything, a 60-hour graduate level private label course that teaches you everything you need to know from concept all the way through launch and beyond, even selling off of Amazon, right? And I have courses on Google Ads, courses on listing optimization, all the things, planning, productivity. My war planning days will help you be much more productive in your business. But anyway, I just did something crazy. I got tired of doing tiers to my mastermind group. So I just opened up at my lowest tier of my mastermind group, which is only $99 a month. I opened up my entire course library.
Wow.
So literally
99, that's it.
Thousands of dollars worth of courses, you can access them for only $99. And yeah, so just in case you want to do that. And then one final thing, if you would just like me to go through your listing and tell you all the things that you did right and wrong with it, you can go to amazingathome.com underneath the services menu and you'll see free listing review there. And I will send you a video of me sharing my screen and going through your listing and telling you all the things, because I just love to do it. Free, totally free, no strings attached. Just entertain me.
That's amazing.
Heavens. That is incredible. She's doing it all, y'all. And everywhere.
This is why at Prosper, every time we turned around, Amy was there. Amy was literally all over if it was talking about PPC or sourcing or everywhere, she was there.
Either that or sprinting to her next talk. That's where I first caught her. I was like, Amy, okay.
Hi, how you doing? See you later.
Hi, exactly.
That was my
You're
thing
right.
at Prosper. It was a lot of fun though. Man, I saw so many people there. I had a great time. I can't wait to see people. And this is my first time going to London for an event. I can't wait to meet all the sellers in London. I'm so excited. I know I'm going to meet a couple of clients in person for the first time that I've worked with for years. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm so stoked. I'm going to go to Howard Ty's thing. We're living in a castle for a few days in France. I mean, yes, please, doing it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for having me on the show today. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and just for being such a fabulous friend and connection in the industry. It's incredible. And you guys, all of the links, in case you're listening to the audio version only and not watching the video, first of all, go to our YouTube channel, subscribe to the show, rewatch it live. But I'll link everything in the audio version as well, as is always done. So Amy, thank you again so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.